All right, take two, because, when you hit buttons and you think you hit buttons and then you're not hitting buttons and nothing works and you're wondering why. Apologies for 906, because I didn't hit the button I thought I was supposed to hit. Morning, Alex. Hope you're doing well. So I completely, morning 4 card, completely and totally screwed up this morning. There's a certain sequence, and, I know that those of you who know that I'm technologically challenged know that I have these issues. Certain sequence of buttons and things that you've got to hit to make sure that, okay, you're live, you hit the music, you hit this, you hit that, you hit that, you hit that, you hit that. There's a sequence. Morning, Bam. One of your players decided to kind of poke the bear a little bit. We'll get into that. But yeah, certain sequence to try to make sure that you go live when you're supposed to go live. And welcome back, Michael. Hope you enjoyed your time out of the country. And morning, Coco. Morning, evening, Bam. That's the proper way. But yeah, completely and totally messed up the sequence of trying to figure out, okay, am I live? Am I hitting music? All these kinds of things. Completely screwed that up this morning. So so that's why we were 906, because I thought I was live and I wasn't. So good for me. Once again, Soccer's Morning Show. We got a lot to talk about. This morning, it is getting the thoughts from the weekend out into the open, whatever's on your mind from Atlanta United and Orlando and the Purple Team and all of that. We've got the return of Brad Gazan, which blew folks away. All right, so wait a second. So Michael, did you and Ricky see each other? Because Ricky's there now, and you were there. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so there was no Yakamaki's jersey to buy. What is wrong with that country? Do they not understand that when Atlanta United fans go to Greece, that's what they're looking for? Looking for Greek national team jerseys with Yakamakis on the back. So Michael saw a lot of Americans. He did not see Ricky Ricardo. Ricky, by the way, posted a picture in front of some of the pyramids. I imagine it was the Parthenon. But so Michael was there. Ricky is there. And there's no place to buy a Yakamakis national team jersey. Can someone please put an end to this national nightmare? There are folks in America that want to purchase things involving the Greek national team. Come on now, people. Merchants and marketers and the national team, figure this out. Please figure this out. We have to stop a national nightmare, people. People in Atlanta, people who are Atlanta United fans want to wear a Yorgos Yakamakis jersey. And that's what he did. Tillman did poke the bear. I don't know how wise that was, but Tillman poked the bear. Bam. Like I said, we'll get into that in just a little bit. So Atlanta United's on the table from the Purple Team match. The return of Brad Gazan, Tyler Wolff. You've got who else? Johnny Fortune. All of that stuff. Okay, Shimmick jerseys. Okay, I get that. Okay, I understand. David saying that U.S. soccer marketing and Greece soccer marketing clearly run by the same folks. Come on, man. A lot of Shimmick jerseys available. Okay, fine. Cool. I get it. Sure, why not? So, yeah, we got a lot of Atlanta and the Purple Team to talk about. Got a lot of Atlanta United 2 to talk about. And it's true, Bam. Yeah, U.S. soccer does have more money than Greece has on the whole. But I mean, but you got to have stuff available. You got to have stuff available for your national heroes. So all the MLS stuff from the weekend, Atlanta United and the Purple Team, because tomorrow, and this is how the week shakes out, because it is a double match week. And by the way, and we'll get into it tomorrow, I imagine as well. Fantasy double week. So find your rosters, set your rosters for your fantasy team. Jason Wright Agency. If you have not joined the Fantasy League, join the Fantasy League. Jason Wright with a W, AGEN on Twitter. Jason Wright with a W, Agency on Facebook. Join the league. If you haven't joined the league, you could probably join and still beat me because I'm awful this year. But no, here's the layout of the week. Yes, double match week. LAFC is going to be 2 more games behind everybody. That could serve them poorly later on in the year because of their match compression. We'll keep an eye on that. So today's obviously a normal show. Tomorrow, midweek whip around. Patent pending, trademark coming sooner, hopefully, rather than later. So the first hour tomorrow is midweek whip around. I caught myself. Midweek whip around starts 9:05 tomorrow. 10 o'clock, Dylan Butler. 10:30, Bart Keeler, to discuss anything on Bart's mind, plus another episode of Reffing Down Here. And there's something out of Iowa that I wanted to get into a discussion with Bart about when it comes to youth soccer, and it was in Soccer America. And so I wanted to get into that discussion with Bart, plus another round of Reffing Down Here. Thursday, normal. Once again, yeah, it means we're talking Orlando. Well, we can, Parzival, we can take it however many directions you want. Obviously, we're talking Orlando because we didn't talk about Orlando yesterday. So Orlando's match is on the table. You can talk New England today as well. So you want to call this a hybrid day? We can talk a hybrid. Orlando on the table looking backward. New England on the table looking forward. Plus all the other matchups going on tomorrow. So since we're in a double match week, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So whatever's on your mind there. Thursday's the normal show, recapping what happened against New England. And then Friday, we're back at it again with weekend whip around to kind of discuss what's going on there. Traditionally, morning, Abby, it would be a discussion where Atlanta is discussing things about LAFC. Atlanta will be the team that we are not talking about because that match got shifted to the 7th of June. So not this week, but the middle of next week is when that match is because of LAFC playing in other competitions. So, and Beyond Goals will be at 9:30 and normal at 9 o'clock. So it will be, I think tomorrow we're going to have Jason around 9:30 to discuss Atlanta and New England. So I have to write that down to remember as well. We've also got on the network popping up later in the week. Prem and Proper will be up today. Yes, Abby, absolutely correct. And good thing you didn't arrange to stay later in LA for a game that got moved. Yeah, that would stink. Prem and Proper's up later today. The SDH on MLS Next Pro will be up on the network as well. And later on in the week, we'll have Thursdays with Nico. And then on Friday, we'll have your release of the NPSL Southeast show. So all of that stuff going on. We're also catching up with our friends in high school, kind of doing an in-session postseason, catching up with the champs and some of the cooler stories from what's going on in the state of what went out in the state of Georgia on the high school ranks. So some of the stories that you might not have known about, some of the cool stories that developed over the span of the year, some folks that had great seasons, and this is in addition to catching up with all the champs. So in session, off season, we're going to have a lot of conversations about the growth of the game on a high school sense, and all of that. So, like I said, everything's on the table this morning, and I guess it's time for opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code for those of you who are watching on Twitch. And yes, definitely. I mean, well, and I guess Abby got stuck with marine layer and rain. Forward to coming to see the sun again. And this May gray in Southern California is depressing. So there you go. There's your QR code for those of you watching on Twitch. And Jared Smith's coming in the 9 o'clock hour.
What does Southern California have to do with anything?
Well, no, Abby is there.
Oh, okay.
So Abby is up an incredibly early hour, and she is catching up with what's going on. So this
What
morning,
is going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like apparently LAFC, Tim Tillman poked the bear, and we're going to get into that.
Oh, Jesus, I saw that.
Yeah.
Look, John, you know this as well as I do. These kids, in every sport, you go through a certain level of training for media relations.
That is true.
Sometimes those lessons don't stick.
No, they don't. No, they do not. Yeah. So there will be a moment where we will discuss what Tim Tillman decided to say about Leon. And the only thing I can say is it was poking the bear. What? No rain. Okay, good. So just marine layer and general goopiness. Opening kickoff this morning, before we get into what everybody wants to talk about with Atlanta United on Orlando and New England. Tonight, and I only started doing this about a month ago, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, but tonight is the beginning of when you can see the season/series finale of Ted Lasso. And it usually pops up on Apple TV about 9 o'clock Eastern time. And so the boss and I have started watching Tuesday nights instead of Wednesday. And, when you join in on Apple TV at 9 o'clock, it takes a little while for it to load because everyone else is trying to watch it at the same time. Are you watching tonight? What's your expectations? What are you anticipating with this episode? What would you like to see with this episode? As a part of yesterday, we had friends over and we got caught up a little bit on season 3 for those that hadn't seen as far as the boss and I have. So, question the QOD for today is, since this is the beginning of the viewing cycle for the series/season finale of Ted Lasso, what are you anticipating? What do you want to see? That. So it's a QOD. That's your question of the day.
So I'll probably watch tonight. Wife's actually going out of town, leaving me with the minion. So after I put her to bed, it'll probably just be me and Ted Lasso.
Mm-hmm.
As for what I'm expecting,
how many happy endings do we get, and how many cliffhangers do we get?
See, that's a question, because it feels like this is all the talk is this is going to be the series finale.
Mm-hmm.
But you could convince me that this whole the Richmond universe continues in another series, a la Breaking Bad.
Right.
Better Call Saul. There's too much money involved there. What are you thinking?
No, I think I think that it opens up. Yeah, it says season finale, not series finale. Yeah. Parzival, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I think he moves back home because he misses his son, and I think that that's the start of it. I think that and like I said, I have no basis of any of this. Nate's redemption arc continues.
But I like the way they did his arc, because
Yeah.
it wasn't about some cheesy Nate has to be forgiven by anything. Like he went on his own little journey of self-discovery, and more importantly finding self-worth, because there was a lot of self-loathing in his character. And you had the whole thing with him arguing with him having it out with his dad. Like, it was deeper than just everyone. Nate realizes he was wrong in the moment. It was deeper than that. I liked that they kind of took it on this longer journey of his own self-discovery.
Yeah,
I was glad they did it that way.
Yep. I still think Roy and Keeley are end game. I think that they're a part of this. I think that, and like I said, I have no basis in any of this. I have no advanced intel. No one has seen it in Europe and has been posting spoilers.
I do not support that relationship, but
no.
I think it was Bam who said it. He takes over Atlanta. Kind of give you my what I would love to see happen.
He takes over for Peter Vermes.
Yeah, but so one of my favorite things about this show is you have had this very platonic relationship between Hannah Waddingham's character and Jason Sudeikis' character.
Rebecca and Ted, right?
Yeah, you've had this relationship between them that's not a matter of love in terms of the traditional sense, like falling in love.
Yeah.
It's a matter of they do need each other to be at their best.
Yes.
I would love a finale where he goes home because it's where he needs to be, and she buys Sporting Kansas City.
That would be pretty sweet.
And she just splits her time between England and the U.S. so that they are still working together. They are still improving each other.
Yeah.
It's not romantic, but they continue to bring out the best in each other. And he coaches SKC.
Yeah.
And she owns the club.
Yeah. See, and I still think and I was envisioning the Frasier ending where she's on a plane.
I mean,
And
I am outside with the birdies. It's too nice of weather. Like, it's going to get warmer later. I'm taking my walk now. It's too nice to be inside right now.
Yeah.
So y'all get background noise today.
Yeah. Coco was right there with you before you delivered your punchline. Get Rebecca to buy SKC from the Hunts.
Yes. That way they are still working together. They're still making each other better.
Yeah.
You could convince me Beard stays in England.
Absolutely.
And still has a hand in what's going on in Richmond
Yep.
and with the community, because he seems to have really embraced the English side of things more outside off the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, let him come back. Let him be a dad. Rip away the doctor's license to practice psychology, because taking part in someone's psychiatric basically taking part in someone's evaluation as a therapist, then handling the marriage counseling side of things for that same person, and then dating that same person feels like the kind of thing that gets your license revoked real fast. There's a huge ethics conflict in there. Yep. So revoke his license. He doesn't get to practice anymore. He goes away. I don't necessarily need Ted to get back with his wife personally. Like, sometimes people are better off apart and can both still be great parents apart.
Yes. Yeah.
If you want to bring them back together, fine.
Yeah.
Make it organic. Make it organic if you're going to try, but if they don't, they can still be okay. I don't need it to happen.
Interesting. Coco says that Coco has heard a theory that the show is from Trent Crimm's point of view.
Ooh, I like that. Are we? So are we? Just are we? Has the entire show been reading the book?
That could very well be. Almost like the last episode of Saint Elsewhere, where Westfall's son has envisioned the entire show in its length by looking into the what do you call those things? When you shake it and it's got the artificial snow inside, snow globe.
Oh, snow globe.
Yeah, Westfall's autistic son envisioned the entire series by looking at the snow globe of the hospital.
Well, didn't Doogie Howser at one point end with like him and as a kid? It was all a dream.
I think so. Yeah. Alex and Parzival have both heard the theory that the show is from Trent Crimm's point of view. And by the way, if they don't come out with a book the Lasso way when this series / season is over, that will be a serious marketing flaw. If you have not come out with the Lasso way book by Trent Crimm of The Independent, you will have missed a marketing opportunity like nobody's business.
Yeah. So, worse Trent.
Yes.
Because as Roy says to the new guy, better Trent.
Yes.
So that implies that Trent is the worst of them. So worst Trent. Because y'all mentioned SKC might be more expensive to buy. Counterpoint. No matter what happens with the last game of the season, Richmond is getting Champions League football next year.
That is true. Absolutely true.
So if you do continue this, whoever is coaching it, being it Roy, being Nate, Frank Lampard might come in and take over. We don't know.
First to worst.
Well, that if you really want like a Curb Your Enthusiasm level, like a bunch of mishaps for Beard, which I think would be entertaining. Like if you expanded on the Beard's Night Out episode and you just had Beard having all of these mishaps throughout his entire coaching career,
right?
He gets offered the job at Chelsea and gets fired in the middle of September.
Yeah. Ooh, Parzival. I like this. Parzival, the Princess Bride ending. Ted's reading the book to his son.
Ooh.
I like that.
Andre the Giant is the Kid Man.
I like that.
But I will continue until proven otherwise. I'm continuing to operate under the idea that this is the end of this chapter of the Richmond universe that you have created. And Jason Stakis might pop up and do some stuff, but he won't be featured in it. But I
Right.
think he's also, life imitating art. I think he wants to be close to his kids as well.
Yeah. No doubt.
Because he recently got separated from Olivia
Wilde.
Wilde, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think some of this was life imitating art. He wanted to be closer to his family.
Yeah.
And filming in England just took a lot of time. But
Inconceivable.
maybe he just kind of like pops up in some stuff, but isn't a consistent character.
Yeah.
But you continue the Richmond thing. Like give us more of a story of the club. Give us some web shorts about Will the Kid Man.
Well, and Freddie Mercury owning the club, and all of the other owners and things like that. Yeah. See, Nick's needs a Newhart ending where he wakes up and it's all a dream. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and bam, it might be Beard who goes to LAFC thing because if I'm not mistaken, Brendan Hunt is a big LAFC fan as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and Arsenal.
Yeah.
So you could have Beard coaching Arsenal, Nate and whomever. Does Nate go back to West Ham for any reason? Is
Only
he a
beat
part of
them.
staff at Richmond?
Get all these theories off your chest, y'all.
Yes, all these theories. Get them off your chest, considering we have until 9 o'clock tonight to get them done. David says,
he's gonna take over Wichita State soccer.
Yes. David says, after a player abuse scandal, Ted takes over for a disgraced Nick Saban at Alabama.
That's all right. Because for those of you that aren't aware, Nick Saban's from West Virginia originally. So Kansas and the Kansas and West Virginia are different sides of a not entirely dissimilar coin.
Barca ain't taking a piece of AFC Richmond, Paul.
Oh my God! Give me something weird with like Ted comes over to MLS, tries to install his system and gets run out because it takes time to work, and MLS is weird with the parity and it doesn't click right away, so he gets fired from his job, and then he ends up getting another job in MLS and ends up succeeding there and starts winning titles.
Alex says,
but everyone gets mad because he's not playing energy drink soccer.
Right. Alex
Why is it Ted pressing?
Nick press. Alex says he can't wait to hear Ted yelling about rat poison.
Oh yeah.
Bam. Ted takes over as England national team coach. David wants him as the USM team manager. Oh, I see all of the possibilities, people.
We just recreate the Ted Trent scene from the first episode, but it's Ted doing an expose with journalists from Mexico.
Yep.
As they just follow him around all day. He just goes, they have a game in Mexico City, so they just follow him around all day like, oh my God, he is insane. He's just that genuine.
Coco, Ted gets fired from Sporting after 6 months, goes down to the USL Championship and brings Lou City into the universe and gets them promoted.
Oh yeah, he takes over Lou City and they get into one of the, what we're assuming at this point, because with, let's get into the real world for a second. With San Diego coming online, like maybe you add 2 more teams. Convince me that Lou City is not a great candidate to be an MLS club.
What's the capacity at Lynn Family? Is it under 20?
It is, but you could build out.
Okay, Lynn Family Stadium.
I'm pretty sure you could build out at Lynn Family. They have a great culture there already. You already have an NWSL team in Rice and Louisville.
11-7 expandable to 15-3.
You can build on it.
Okay. You're going to need to. You're going to need to.
Build on it and terrace it, get it up to 25 at minimum. But give me a good reason why Louisville doesn't make sense as an expansion team in MLS. Danny Cruz gets hired to go coach somewhere else. Ted Lasso takes over Lou City, wins the USL Championship. And then Lou City gets promoted.
He goes on an Open Cup run and gets the CONCACAF Champions League bid.
Oh, he's going to not only go on an Open Cup run, he's going to skunk Sporting Kansas City like 4-0.
Oh, there you go. Only because Wichita's not a viable MLS side. They are a viable indoor side at the Kansas Coliseum with the Wichita Wings. yet. Oh, could you see Ted Lasso coaching indoor soccer with the Wichita Wings? But yeah, you get Ted Lasso to win CONCACAF Champions League in Lou City, thumps Sporting on the way out the door in the run, and so that's yes. All of these scenarios. I want all of your scenarios, people.
I'm glad we've hammered this out.
Yes, we've hammered out seasons 4, 5, and 6, which it actually, but if it follows the Star Wars run, aren't the 3 seasons?
Do we need a prequel?
That's what I'm saying. Aren't the 3 seasons of Ted Lasso? Wouldn't they be episodes 4, 5, and 6? Where
so do we get the first 3? Are the first 3 seasons Ted at Wichita State?
Yeah, I would think that would have to be it.
I mean, he was only at Wichita State for 1 year, I think, when he took on worst to first. But
yes. So I think that
you could prequel it.
Yeah, I think that's. I think that seasons 4, 5, and 6 of Ted Lasso are your prequel of Life 1, 2, and 3. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 in the life of Ted Lasso, football coach. Michael Valverde says that he becomes a coach in a middle school counselor, and coach. And Bam says
I would love that. Led Tasso takes over at Man City. Pep Guardiola goes to New York City. Pep takes over the NYCFC job, and Led Tasso takes over at Man City.
Oh goodness, yeah, Richmond's rival.
He grows a goatee to go with his mustache. Goes like with a full Van Dyke to look like the devil, and takes over at Man City, and wins like 3 straight league titles.
There you go. You've got all of that stuff to get back at who is. Oh, wow, yeah, make it happen. Pep goes to NYC. Ted goes to Sporting. Beard goes to LAFC. Coco's on fire this morning. Make it happen. Coco's laid it all out in Major League Soccer. And
also, Rupert is forced to sell West Ham.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to happen.
Which is really okay. So I had this it was really weird for me the first time I saw him, because I'm like having face blindness because I know this man before.
Oh yeah.
It clicked with me finally, and I forget when it was, but I felt ashamed. It took me so long to realize that he was also a different Rupert in the old Buffy show from the late night, the Joss Whedon Buffy series.
Yep.
It was like he was just a different Rupert, a nicer, kinder, gentler English Rupert. He only plays English characters named Rupert.
That is true. Coco now is saying that Apple needs to pay up, and although they're in a writer's strike, so I guess
we're not crossing the picket line. I'm supporting the writers on this.
Yeah. So write all your ideas down.
I'm not going to be a scab.
No. We saw So Michael Valverde collects all the orphaned USMNT players, makes a team that wins the World Cup for the States United of America.
Yeah.
And that's another part. I mean, if you look at the transfers for the USMNT, I mean, you've got possible folks heading to other. Yeah, Weston McKennie to Richmond. Exactly, Coco. That is exactly right. That's what you need to have. You've got Pulisic, Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, Weston McKennie, Falarin Balogun, Tim Weah, Brendan Aronson, all looking for homes.
Okay, to be fair, though, the last 2 clubs that have tried this whole, we're just going to bring in all the American players and be the darlings of America, it hasn't really worked out, because being the darlings of America and American broadcast is not necessarily a sound business plan in and of itself. It doesn't help the fact that Leeds, and their fans really booing and screaming at Weston McKennie in a really unacceptable fashion.
Yeah.
Or the fact, as we've seen in Italy as well, just bringing in a bunch of MLS guys, a bunch of American guys, isn't getting you across the line.
Cat wants to be fed, Jarrett, or attended to, one of the two. Bam is saying that Richmond does Rangers, goes broke and goes to non-league football. So then who would be Craig White in that situation? Parzival. Now, Parzival, if this happened,
the answer is the Moss brothers.
Yes. If Parzival theory could be correct, Ted could be the president of FIFA. Could you imagine Ted Lasso taking over for Gianni Infantino? And how much would actually get done in the world soccer stage if Ted Lasso would be the head of FIFA? Did you imagine a career trajectory like that, where he goes from being a coach of an American football team to coaching AFC Richmond into European football?
I would I would find more joy if he took over CONCACAF and like got Jack Warner's house and you just walked around Jack Warner's house asking questions about it and poking and breaking things randomly for 20 minutes.
Coco says you get the series long enough to get Wrexham promoted to the Premier League. That might take a while. Then a whole crossover series with We Are Wrexham.
Someone said they don't want this show to turn into The Walking Dead and keep on going forever. If you wait for Wrexham, that's exactly what would happen.
Yes, that is exactly true. I mean, legitimately, I think Wrexham gets promoted out of League Two next year because the quality of play is pretty much the same. League One is where business really starts to pick up, and they've really got to invest and start paying attention. That League One, staying in League One, getting promoted to the championship, and I think legitimately the championship might be the edge of it. So we'll see what happens. Abby, anybody taking over FIFA would be better. Coco, they made West Ham a UCL team. They can BS anything they want. That is true. Absolutely true. But yeah, keep sending in your theories, since tonight is the beginning of the viewing cycle for the last Ted Lasso of this cycle. They're saying season finale. A lot of folks are saying series finale. I think that in this incarnation of Ted Lasso, it's probably the series finale. So episode 3 of the Star Wars trilogy starts its viewing cycle tonight. And so keep your theories coming. Those are some good. That's some good stuff. We have not, by the way, that is the see, Ryan and Rob get to ownership when they get to League One and Championship. Absolutely. So that's your opening kickoff, brought to you by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, don't forget to use the code soccer down here 15. You get 15% off your purchase of anything over at Kickoff Coffee. They in turn take 10% reinvested into the youth game and youth initiatives. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Keep your theories coming. That's some fun stuff. I was about to use a different word, but I caught myself. We have not talked. Yeah, Nix has put in a bid to be a part of the ownership group. Hey, I think we all should. I think we could crowdfund something like that. We have yet to talk. We didn't get to talk about it yesterday. Kind of went down the road of soccer over there, talked a lot of European football and promotion relegation and all those kinds of things. We have not talked about Atlanta and the purple team yet. And I'm sure there's a lot on folks' minds when it comes to Atlanta United getting a point out of Central Florida. There were a couple of things interesting going in. There are a couple of things interesting coming out of it. And in short order, once again, it is weekend, midweek, and then it would have been a match in Los Angeles, but LAFC is kind of busy, so that got pushed back to a week from tomorrow. So, Jarrett, now that you've had a couple of days to kind of look back and think back at Atlanta United and Orlando City, what has stuck in your mind from the point that was garnered from Exploria Stadium?
You didn't play a clean game and you got away with it. Which is it's one of those things that it's really annoying to watch. So I went back and managed to watch. I caught the end of it after I was doing the Apotheos game up in Kennesaw.
Yes, you did.
What a weird game that was. So I caught most of the second half, and then went back and watched part of the first half, and then managed to finish it up last night. But it's an imperfect game. And I mean, yes, Barry was subbed in, and Barry damn near created a goal from an impossible angle. Like, I don't know what has gotten into Miguel Barry these last two games, because he gets that ball and earns the red card, like creates the red card situation against Chicago, and he wasn't terrible against Orlando. Like, he gets that ball on the end line, manages to fight off a tackle, and then puts in a weird, like, tries to roof it a la Hani Mukhtar. And then, Gillespie, it's like you got to get up early in the morning to beat Gillespie.
That's true.
Yeah, Barry has been better. Giacomakis is your go-to guy for a reason, and just so we're clear, yet like he played 60 because that was the game plan because you're ramping him up. Um, because you don't want to run him out there, run him into the ground, and blow out his leg again.
Yeah.
I thought he would be able to go longer, but apparently that was the plan. And if that's what the physios are saying, then that's what you're going to do. That being said, it was a very imperfect game, but I've lost track of how many times we have seen, especially in the last 3 or 4 years, Atlanta play a team where they get a goal. Atlanta does. They look better. They can't find the second goal either because they're wasteful in the final third or a good save or two. And Brad Guzan made an amazing save in the second half that keeps it at 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone snaps up a draw at the end of the game. And you and I and all of us go home pissed. We come on the show. We talk about they played well, but they didn't close the door. This time the shoe was on the other foot, or Atlanta was sloppy. And it's weird. Like I don't know if they were too ramped up or something. It was just like the passing was sloppy, the execution was sloppy. I don't know if they were just too amped up, but it was just sloppy. But you kept your legs through the middle rounds. You found an opening late, and Tyler Wolf rescued the draw for you because we've seen teams come into Mercedes-Benz look like they were going to get pushed off the field. Atlanta gets up 1-0 on them. Atlanta doesn't put them away, and then they snake a draw at the end, and they go home happy. And that's honestly what it felt like to me. You didn't play well. You snaked a draw at the end. You take the 1 point, and you walk out of the stadium, and you don't look back.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly where I feel about it.
Yeah. Possession numbers. Purple team had 51% to 49, had more shots, 13-11, had more shots on target at 5-3.
Yeah, Jason's right. Barry did miss a chance where he dragged a shot wide, and Machop Chol could have won that game at the end. I think he had more time than he thought he had.
Yeah.
Because he fizzes one past the upper 90. I mean, if he puts it on frame, Gillespie's not getting to it because it's kind of at an angle, and he hits it with basically the top of his foot / part of the outside of his boot. So it's got like this two-seam movement to it, where it's kind of cutting back away from glove side. If you want to think baseball terms, like it's a dominant drift on it, so back to his side. So he kicks it with his right foot, it's going to drift to the right.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, it cut. I mean, it wasn't really. It was like 4 or 5 feet at least off frame. But yeah, you had a couple chances to outright win it late, and it was weird, man. Like I don't know how y'all felt. Like felt like once they scored, it was almost like a spell got broken on Orlando, and they just went, oh blank,
Mm-hmm.
oh god. And I mean, they were trying to do stuff. I mean, it wasn't like they were just sitting back and had to turn the key over, but it was almost like Atlanta broke their rhythm.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to get it back in the last 5-6 minutes.
Strange how that happens when Atlanta does stuff against the purple team,
Yeah, and it is a draw that feels like a win because you rescued it. I would be remiss if I did not give an obscene amount of credit to Tyler Wolf, not just for the goal, but Tyler Wolf's response. Like he was in the camps to go to the U20 World Cup with basically every young good player in MLS.
Yeah.
And his brother went instead because Tyler Wolf hasn't been good enough. And Tyler, if he pouted, he didn't show it because he scored in his last two. He scored or assisted in his last 2 games with the twos. He scored in the Open Cup. The Open Cup, I remain critical of him for the Open Cup game because yes, he scored, but I thought as that game wore on, I don't know if it was fatigue, but he wasn't tracking back and doing the work late in that game. But he scored in the last 2 MLS games he's been in, and he has responded to his snub the way you want guys to respond, which is not to sit there and sulk, but to say, I'm going to show you why you were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you can do. You can't go back and turn back time. All he can do is what he's doing, which is to try and make a point. And look, Atlanta plays tomorrow night. if you give me the lineup sheet, he's starting in place of Etienne because Derek Etienne has not been giving you what you needed from him. He's been a disappointment, which sucks because I like the guy a lot. And I think if you asked him, he'd tell you it's been a disappointment. But right now, Tyler Wolff is giving you more. Tyler Wolff is starting for me at left wing.
A couple of questions on the board. With the lineup being what it was, starting midfield, Abby was a bit of a concern. Did the midfield midfield wasn't able to be physical since you were missing Ibarra.
Sosa's more of like Sosa can bring some physicality, but he's not as much of like announce my presence with authority kind of guy. He's a good passer on the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you do miss that. The guy I was impressed with, you want to keep going to the kids. Johnny Fortune came in late.
Yep.
And Johnny Fortune's working on consistency, like a lot of these guys are. Johnny Fortune was reading that game like a book. He had a couple of interceptions where Orlando was approaching the final third. And he was jumping in passing lanes before they were kicking the ball. If AJ's going to read the game like that, you got to have a conversation about giving him more minutes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think at this point, Ibarra is your starter. Just it's just the edge he gives that midfield. It's just the fight he has. I'm starting Ibarra.
Mm-hmm.
Zetsu was okay. I need more from him.
Yeah.
Especially in a night like that, where it's sloppy and it feels like it's kind of flat. You needed him to pick up the ball and make a run and kind of get things going, and it just wasn't there.
36 of 38 passing, 95% on 55 touches for Hosechu. 2 for 2 on long balls, had a shot on target, had a shot blocked. 4 of 5 on successful dribbles. Ground duels in the overall, he was 7 of 13. Fouled twice and was fouled once, had a tackle, and 2 times he was dribbled past. So those are your numbers on Mateus Hosechu from the match against the purple team. And, I mean, and Gonzalo Pineda, we talked about it in the past. Gonzalo Pineda is so incredibly, if you were to ask him a question about younger players and how they're developing, you instantly can get longer than a 20-second soundbite answer about the development of folks like Noah Cobb and Johnny Fortune and Caleb Wiley and all the younger players. And it's something that it's really cool to see because we've seen it since our time has been spent a lot with Atlanta United too, to see guys like Noah and a Johnny and Tyler grow into these roles and take these minutes that are given to them. And Machop Chol with his time out on the left, as he's trying to learn what it's like to be up top. But to see these guys come from Atlanta United too, come through the academy system and assert themselves, it's like, okay, if these, veterans aren't doing the job and I'm inserted into the lineup, then I'm going to take over and, good luck trying to get minutes from me because I'm going to prove that I deserve my time here. It's been fun to see the development of all of these young guys and see a Johnny Fortune and see a Tyler Wolff come true in a match like the one against Orlando where you come out of there with a point.
That's the way it should be. That if guys aren't doing their jobs, those guys should be stepping up and saying, if you don't want those minutes, I will take them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And look, they're in a position where they should be taking those minutes at this point because, like I said, if you're not going to work for them, then and the kids want to work for them, let the kids have them.
Yeah. You had a lineup because you did not have Luis Aruju and you did not have Franco Ibarra. You had Brooks Lennon on the right. Despite what SofaScore and pretty much everybody else has when it comes to a lineup, it was a 4-3-3. It was not a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, and I was disappointed. I was hoping that the Hernandez-Lennon combination on the right would be better than it was.
Yeah.
It
Uh,
just it lacked some of what I was expecting.
yeah.
So
Ronald on SofaScore punched a 6.0. Had 67 minutes, had one clearance, one pick. 2 times he was dribbled past, 1 of 6 on duels on the night. Lost possession 11 times. 2 fouls, 81% passing on 47 touches, 3 of 5 on long balls and 1 shot block. But it was a long night for Ronald Hernandez, starting at right back for Atlanta United going up against Orlando. Other numbers, obviously, Derek Etienne Jr., Thiago Almada, Juanjo Porata were the only ones of field players that punched above a 7. Yakamakis had a 6'8", Brooks a 6'5", Santiago Sosa a 6'8", Hosechu a 6'6", Gutman a 6'8", Miles a 6'9". Brad Gazan punched a 7.3, the highest rated player on SofaScore. 4 saves, 2 punches, 3 saves from inside the box, 35 touches, 80% passing, 20 of 25, 9 of 13 on long balls, 2 clearances for Brad Gazan. I don't think we can say enough about Brad Gazan being a cyborg, a madman, whatever adjective or predicate noun you want to use about Brad Gazan. I don't think it even begins to cover it. I don't even think
he shouldn't have been. I mean, by all accounts, he shouldn't have been out there, right?
No.
Blew his MCL. By all accounts, should have been out there, but he was.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And you've got that. So yeah, you didn't have Sadic. You didn't have Franco Ibarra. Coco, Tyler Wolf should be starting tomorrow night. If Pineda values the hot hand as he says he does, it's time to start the kid. I think so. Yeah, and I think that's right. Nick's, Jarrett, since you got to watch the match, Nick said a question, does it seem to anyone else we're really conceding wide play to opposing teams? Many times the last few weeks, guys are wide open on the left and the right.
So the interesting one is the third goal for Chicago, because I don't know, and I still need to find out if that one was a matter of Ronald Hernandez tucked in really far inside. Was he supposed to be there because you were kind of playing 3 at the back? And if you have an outside back who's going to sit, it's going to be him, and Gutman's going to get forward. But he was tucked inside, and as you go looking, if you go look at that last goal, like you can see him at one point, like he's chewing out Machop Chol, because Machop Chol is just kind of floating in space where you should be defending. It's 10v10.
Yep.
And it should have been Machop Chol pressing the crosser in that situation, getting back and doing the defensive work, because it's 3-2. You're trying to hold on for a road win. Everyone should be defending. I don't need this. Isn't Nashville. I don't need you. You're not Honey Mukhtar. I don't need you floating up at the top of the center backs waiting. Everyone needs to be back defending. But yeah, it feels like a lot of times they are seeding that outside and basically forcing teams to play the cross in because they are so good in the air. Miles Robinson's good in the air. Juan Parata's good in the air. Brad Guzan commands his box really well now that he's back in the play. You have a lot of guys who are very good at those moments. And it seems like you are seeding that to teams.
Yeah.
And you're basically, and at times you're basically daring them, saying, go ahead and pump in that low percentage cross.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when the defense isn't in transition. Or you can put your head down and try and dribble in, and then you are trusting Brooks Lennon or Andrew Gutman to win those 1v1s, which at the very least, if they don't win them outright, are generally pretty good at holding things up long enough that you can swarm them.
Yep. That's what you're staring at with that. Question from Bam about Almada leaving for international duty. Doesn't appear that he'll miss matches. I don't think. Or if he does, he'll come on off the bench for the NYCFC match on the 21st. Friendlies against Australia, June 15th. Indonesia, June 19th. So it would be after DC United. Let me get my schedule out here again. But there's a match for Atlanta United on the 21st. And it is NYCFC at home. Between the DC United match on the 10th and the 21st, there's nothing going on because it's a international window, I imagine. So you get Almada called up. So after the DC United match, everybody goes their separate ways. And there's 2 matches. My guess is that if he plays in Indonesia against the match in Indonesia, then what will happen is he flies back on the 20th, probably is in the match day roster against NYCFC on the 21st. See how he is, see how many minutes he's played, see how he is with fatigue, see if he can start, he starts. So that's what you're looking at with Thiago Almada and international duty. So we'll keep an eye on that. Also on the table this morning, Niles looking for a win tomorrow. Tough stretch coming up. Not ready to play LAFC.
I mean, this is the thing, because I saw people talking about like they're not expecting anything out of tomorrow. Why?
Yeah.
Because New England hasn't been good the last few weeks.
Nope.
They shipped 3 goals in a 3-3 draw with Chicago too.
Mm-hmm.
And theirs was a lot more even and chaotic. Theirs was also at home. They have not been defending worth a damn.
Yep. Even though
this is my eternal frustration of like teams have bad times, teams have bad stretches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, New England's been near the top of the table. They have not been good for the last few weeks.
Mm-mm.
You catch them during a bad stretch.
Yeah.
And you were at home. You expect to win at home.
Yeah.
Anything short of a win at home, unless something really weird happened, and there are circumstances, and you can get weird stuff happening, like Miles blowing out his Achilles or something like happened last year. Like you're going to have situations that can throw you off at home, and you're going to have weird stuff that can happen. But 9 times out of 10, if you don't win at home, it's a bad performance. I don't get this concept of not expecting anything out of New England. Yes, they have dangerous attackers. They also have not been good at defending. And if you go out there with intent,
mm-hmm.
I think you can absolutely cause them problems.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at what New England. All right, so let's
if you're scared, back. Get a dog.
Yes. Looking at the standings in the East, New England has not been impressive in recent form. They only have 1 point in their last 3 matches, and that was last time out in the 3-3 craziness that was the draw against Chicago Fire. Before that, it was a 3-0 loss to Philadelphia and a 2-1 loss to Inter Miami. Then they won against Toronto. Of course, everybody does. But New England has only 1 point in their last 3 matches. Right now, and obviously when we talk about it tomorrow morning in the 9 o'clock hour, Atlanta United is a decided favorite. They are at a -116 in the juice boxes, in the composite courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Draws a +281, and New England is a +291. So that's what you're staring at. You get Ibarra back, you get Aruju back, and then my guess is that Giakoumakis gives you as close to 90 minutes as the physios say he's good to giving you as close to 90 minutes. He got 60 last time out, and that was what was on the clock.
Yeah, I was hoping he would be able to give you more. And like I said, if the physios are telling you, hey, look, we need to run him for 60 minutes at full speed, that's where he is. Mm-hmm. And then you hope this week you can run him for 75, 80, or 90.
Because you got a week after.
I hope that's where you're at. Yeah, because I hope that's where you're at. You have time off after this. Hopefully he's able to give you more. I think he was frustrated coming up just because it's the first time he started a game and hasn't scored in this country.
Right.
That's probably why.
Yeah, first time he hasn't scored in a match
when starting a match.
Yeah.
He was probably frustrated at that. Felt like he didn't do his job. Is what it is. But hopefully he's able to go. I think you start Tyler on the left-hand side. I'm assuming you start Luis on the right.
Yeah.
Which it's cool, y'all. You can just kind of be counting down the days till Luis is gone. Hope he does stuff until then. But,
Right.
And we had talked about, John. I wanted it to click for Luis, and it didn't. And then you did what we had talked about, which is I want it to click. It's not okay. Let's just part company.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than just pretending. We spent all this money on this guy, and we need to wait to see if it comes good. It's not coming good. So you did the right thing.
Yeah.
It's good business, but I'm assuming it'll be a Bada back in. With his two in front of him, and I think it works a little bit better with the two of them in the middle.
Yeah.
I think Sadich and so work a little bit better together. I assume it'll be a Bada in that instance. You'll get, you'll still have Goodman on the right back. You'll still have Lennon. The rest of you can chalk in.
Yeah. So I think that's what I think legitimately that's what you're staring at. Oh, and Bam also reminds us that, New England lost to Screaming Bob Lilly in the Open Cup.
Yeah, again, this is my thing. We're like seeing people, wringing their hat in their hand about the game. Like, well, we're not going to get anything out of New England.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? New England hasn't been good.
Nope, they have not.
New England got that scream. And by the way, still my favorite Open Cup experience would have been imagine being the fourth official between Bob Lilly and Bruce Arena.
Oh man,
the absolute hell that poor man was in.
Oh, the hellscape.
Yeah, like they haven't been good. Go get something from them.
Yep.
Because okay, here's my thing about it. Let's look at MLS standings.
Okay.
New England's in third place.
Yes.
If your argument is, well, they're in third place, okay, Atlanta's in fifth place and got passed by Philly this week, who, again, Philly came to life. Figured they would at some point. If your argument is New England is set to be a playoff team and, host a playoff game, so therefore they are good and you should not expect anything from them. Up until last week, Atlanta was in that conversation, and they are 2 points off New England right now. They would jump New England in the standings if they beat New England.
Yep.
So don't apply the logic of one but not the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're going to tell me New England is third and their recent form doesn't matter, they're a good team, you shouldn't expect anything of them. Okay, Atlanta was sitting there in third place for a long ass time, but everyone kept telling me not to expect anything. Or we're saying we have to do this or else. Don't put expectations on one but not the other. It's irrational. And if you just want to indulge in, I'm scared, I need a dog, then do that.
Yeah,
that's cool. But don't paint it up. Don't dress it up.
Yeah. So I mean, you look back. I mean, New England's lost 3 of their last 4, including in all comps. So that's what you're staring at with New England coming to town. And for New England to give up 3 to Chicago, 3 to Chicago Fire. Stats on that one. Revs had more possession, 16 shots. So 16 shots, 6 on target for New England in a 3-3 draw against a substandard Chicago team. Chicago had 9 shots, 3 on target. All of these numbers for New England, they were the ones in charge of all the stats. 9 corners, 14 fouls. That's another part of it. 14 fouls to 4 for Chicago. 4 big chances for the Revs. Half of them missed. 2 counterattacks for Chicago Fire. 10 shots inside the box for New England, 6 outside. 3 saves on the day for Brady. Petrovic only had 1 save on the day. 18 tackles for Chicago to 15. 13 picks to 5. Clearances were tied at 14. So you end up with those numbers. And you look at all of this. I mean, Bobby Wood got substantive minutes for New England. Got a goal and had one of their highest ratings at a 7.5.
Josie Altidore had to rescue that draw for them against Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
At home.
Yeah.
In the cavernous craft land.
Yeah.
Like you got Josie rescuing draws.
They sat Carlos Heel to start and brought in Josie Altidore for the final 10 minutes to replace Bobby Wood. Starting lineup in that match: Petrovic in goal, Farrell, Romney, and Christian McCoon at the back, DeJuan Jones, Polster, Noel Buck, who we saw with the New England Revolution 2 earlier this year, Emmanuel Boateng, Latif Blessing, Vrioni, and Bobby Wood. They brought in Carlos Heel, Justin Rennicks, and Josie Altidore off the bench. And as you said, they brought in Altidore to rescue the draw against Chicago. That doesn't sound all that intimidating to me when it comes to a lineup. Obviously, it means that, you're going to start Heel and maybe start Rennicks. And who knows, maybe you start Josie Altidore with since he only had 10 minutes on the weekend, and flip it with Bobby Wood. I mean, Vrioni gave you virtually nothing. 34 touches on the day for Vrioni, 69% passing on 11 of 16. He won 6 of 11 duels up top. And Bobby Wood gave you a 7.5. Bobby Wood gave you a 7.5 on the day for New England in that draw. Wood's numbers: 81 minutes, 21 touches. So basically, your two guys up top only touched the ball 55 times. They weren't getting a whole lot, and Josie Altidore had to save you. So, any thoughts on any of that? They can be had, folks. Don't know the advancement numbers. I need the shot charts. I need to go into a deeper place to get shot charts, Abby. Bam, it's midnight. Glad you were here. And Niall, still many games left to be played. Things can really change in just a couple of weeks. Niall and Abby, among the most goals scored in Major League Soccer. Defending is the issue. Yeah, Alex, imagine giving up 3 goals to Chicago. Wait, yes.
Well, and here's the thing to Forecard's point. This is also my thing of with Atlanta, which is tied now because Charlotte pitched a 1-0 shutout in LA, which, man, LA is so broken. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You are tied for the league lead in goals given up, and you lead the league in goals scored.
Yep.
Both of those matter. I understand that there is anxiety about you have given up a lot of goals. Yes, you have. And it needs to be better. Also, if you want to get into advanced stats, Atlanta's been pretty unlucky defensively. They should not have, their XG and their goals, their expected goals against and their goals against there's a delta there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not an insignificant delta. They're gonna play games with the idea of this might end up 4-3.
Yeah.
That's just how they're gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well make peace with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you're going to have right now, you're going to have craziness. You're going to have 1-1s, you're going to have 4-3s, and it's going to be all over the place. So just understand that, when you know that going in, that it's going to be, it's going to have its moments of crazy. And that's how it's structured right now. And there's work to be done. Front office understands that. Coming up on the window. So we'll see how they address it going forward. And Forecard, Carlos Hill will run circles around the midfield. I think that having Ibarra back could slow that down.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking Ibarra to do what I've been asking teams to do to Hani Mukhtar, which is especially if he's not in the box, because, and I say this not out of trying to hurt anybody, but because we literally watched it happen to Ezequiel Barco a lot.
Yeah,
hit him.
Mm-hmm.
Because if officials haven't been protecting guys in this city,
yep,
I guess force them to protect them in other cities.
Yeah,
put a body on Heel, put him on the ground. Don't let him counter. Put him on the ground, foul him, and stand over the ball.
Yep.
Don't let him take it quick.
Yep.
Because God knows we watched that how many times with the likes of with Ezequiel Barco, with Marcelino Moreno at times. Although I think Moreno was slippier
Yeah.
about getting out of it, and Amada is too. Like
I
they
think
don't get
I think
fouled.
Barco is your example.
Yeah, like Barco was so good on the dribble, but he was also like easy to tackle. It was kind of weird. Because he could win every dribble if he wanted to, just about, but it's also very easy to grab and pull down. Whereas like Amada is almost like a slick running back who's been soaked in Vaseline, where he's going to beat you, but then when you try and grab him, you just can't.
Barry
That seems to
Sanders.
be, yeah, it's got a very Sanders feel to it. Because I think Heel could give you problems. Um, I think New England can be had in transition too. Um,
Yeah.
but you're going to have moments where you're gonna have to defend, and you're going to have to defend bravely. So hopefully you can do it.
Yeah.
I think you're right though. I think he can run circles around you, but um, you've got to you've got to be physical on them, not just in those transition moments, but when they get the ball in the midfield with their back to goal, put a body on them immediately. Do
Yep.
not let them turn.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
Slow it down. Whatever professional foul you want to spread the fouls out, however you want to call it, however you want to phrase it. Make sure that you get those professional fouls done. You slow the pace down. You're not getting the breakneck stuff down the wings where you're having to run like hell the entire time. And all right, so I know that you turn into a pumpkin. What's your final thoughts before you go?
I mean, we'll have a whip around tomorrow. So I mean, just
That is true. We will.
I don't know. I'm just kind of like I I'm looking forward to the game. It should be fun, honestly,
Yeah.
because it's two teams that will try and score. Um, two teams that are susceptible to giving up goals. Um, if Atlanta could stop hemorrhaging goals, and like I said, if you want to look at advanced stats, and I know a lot of people do, um, if you want to look at advanced stats, Atlanta's due to regress in a good way on their goals against. Maybe this isn't the week that happens because guys like Heel can pull out something out of a hat that you didn't know they could pull out of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to have to lock it down. And I swear to God, if you're going to leave late, lock it down, please. Just everyone defend. Don't give me a
Yes.
situation where somebody's standing around.
Yep.
Defend like your life depends on it.
Mm-hmm.
Begging you.
Yes.
Right.
So now that you've begged, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Sounds good.
All right. That's Jared Smith, everybody. Yeah, you've got to be aware of the number. Well, and that's the benefit of having a player getting the ball in front of you with his back turned, facing his own goal. Break it up, slow it down, foul, use your fouls judiciously, all that kind of stuff. All those things that we talk about. Have your midfield, have your physical midfield, and your center backs and your back line break up the pace of play, the anticipated pace of play for New England when they come to town. And I know that we'll get into this, a little more tomorrow. But you look at the lineups: Farrell, Romney, McCoon, DeJuan Jones, Polster, Noel Buck from Revs 2. They all gave you 90 minutes. 90 minutes at the back. So it could be interesting to see how they line up tomorrow. Boateng was substituted out after 80 minutes. Maybe Justin Rennicks gets the start. Latif Blessing gave you 60. Carlos Heel came in to give you 30. Maybe that flips. Vrioni, Bobby Wood. Does Josie get a start? We'll see. Once again, it's a quick turn. We'll see how it lays out. Just on the bench for New England, who did not play on the weekend, Ben Sweat, Omar Gonzalez. And if Omar Gonzalez is getting minutes at the back in this match, Atlanta United should have a field day. The possible matchup of Yorgos Giacomakis and Omar Gonzalez If that happens, feed that all day long. So it will be interesting to see how New England lines up after what happened on the weekend. But, yeah, right now, losers of 3 of 4, 1 point in their last 3 MLS matches, plus the loss to Screaming Bob Lilly and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in Open Cup. Last win, May the 7th, against Toronto. You look at form, New England's 1-2-2 in their last 5. 4-4-2 in their last 10. So they've really hit the brakes in the last month plus, last 6 weeks. So that's what you're staring at when it comes to New England. Once again, remember, question of the day from hour number 1. What do you want to have happen with the season finale / series finale of Ted Lasso? Since that starts tonight, technically at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Apple TV will break. How is that different lineup-wise from Atlanta United? Well, Yakamaki's only played 60. So I imagine that he'll start and he'll give you as many minutes as you can. I think Tyler Wolff starts. I think we've already talked about that. Tyler Wolff starts, and then it will be Tyler Wolff and then Derek Etienne Jr. coming in off the bench. You get Aruju back, so he'll start on the right. You get Ibarra back. He starts in the midfield. Brooks Lennon goes back to right wing, or to right back. Purata and Miles and Gutman. That's probably how it's going to be on the back. So Gutman, Purata, Miles, Brooks, backline. In the middle, it's some combination of Almada, Ibarra, and probably Sosa to be more physical. Santi, remember, gave you 75, and there won't be any fear of having a Johnny Fortune in there for for however many minutes you feel comfortable throwing him out there, considering what he did when he and Tyler Wolff were subbed in with 12 minutes to go. Abram did not play. Aiden McFadden played for the Twos. Noah Cobb played for the Twos. They were in the game day roster, but they did not play in Orlando. So, form? Form. So let's see. For Atlanta, 1-2-2 more goals scored in the last 5. And 3-4-3 in the last 10. So 13 points in their last 10 matches. So, you got, Wolf starting. I mean, like I said, you go with the hot hand. Don't know if Purata made any mistakes. Looking at his numbers, 1 clearance, a block, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles, 5 of 9 on the duels, 4 fouls in the day, 92% passing, 47 to 51 on 62 touches, missed on the 1 long ball and had 2 shots off target. So, I mean, Orlando only came out of there with the 1 goal. And I think that a team like Orlando is a team that you can play into frustration. And I think that you knock them off of their game. And I mean, you look at Atlanta United. Atlanta United is the only team in the league to have scored in every match they played in this year. So offense for me and getting goals on the board is not a problem. But once again, we talked about defense and we talked about how it is right now. Sometimes you're going to have 1-1s on the road. Sometimes you're going to have 4-3s. And right now, once again, you're in that time frame where you're trying to figure things out and you're trying to get to the summer window and you're trying to figure out what you need to address and figure out how to address it. You're getting close to that summer window time, so we'll figure out. You're trying to figure out what you're hunting for. So, I mean, you look at. I was looking at the numbers the other day. The overall, when you're looking at, it's going to take a little bit for me to find it. If I can find it, I will find it. But it had to do with, there were some advanced stats that I was, that we were staring at in conversations, and I'll find the numbers. And if I don't find them during the show today, I will bring them up as a part of Whip Around tomorrow. So it had to do with Atlanta United and XG and things like that. And there were some numbers that were out there involving offense and trying to figure out how things were offensively. But yeah, I'll find the XG numbers and the other offensive statistics that we were looking at for just some advanced numbers. And like I said, I know that doesn't do any good for advancement of radio when it comes to trying to get a topic figured out. But yeah, there was some numbers, but the biggest one off the top of my head was just Atlanta United scored in every match of this season. The only team in Major League Soccer to do that. Yeah. Me multitasking. It's kind of scary. Emilio, not going to think about New England form when our form has been bad in the same period. You're still clicking points. And you're still fifth in the East. Opponent's form. No, that's that's what Emilio, that's what the show's all about. Don't worry about derailing the show. I've derailed the show. If you think you're derailing the show, I've derailed the show enough times over 7 years to send us off the cliff like a Toonces the Cat sketch. Don't worry about it. But no, there were some numbers that were relevant to Atlanta United and offensive output, and I'll see if I can track them down. We got some stuff to talk about, and obviously, once again, the other stuff we were talking about this morning in hour number one, yes, it is. Derailed is the show's middle name. Soccer Derailed Down Here. We got, once again, Ted Lasso to talk about all of the, yes, that is the DNSDH. Ted Lasso to talk about the anticipated, or where you would like all of the big names that are in play for the U.S. men's national team. Where do you see them going next year? Looks like Serginho Dest is heading to Union Berlin. So keep an eye on that. So where you're anticipating USMNTs, early thoughts on old thoughts on Atlanta and Orlando, early thoughts on Atlanta and New England, because tomorrow is Weekend Whip Around, patent pending trademark coming hopefully sooner rather than later. But since it is, since we have completely and totally zoomed past the hour mark of the show, it is time for me to take the music out of loop, move it down to an acceptable level so you can hear me talking, and punch a button so you can read a promo. Odor-free, clean, fresh air, one place you need to go. It's the Lemon service. QR code over my left shoulder for those of you watching on Twitch. The Lemon service deodorizes enclosed spaces like houses, apartments, and condos. Lemonize has created a customized solution that eliminizes all organic odors, including those like pet cigarettes and food. Realtors and property managers use the Lemonize service to eliminate bad odors to help them sell or rent their homes that much faster. Turnkey process makes it easy to work with said realtors and property managers. Kind of the environment we like that these days, a very green way of getting rid of odors without any kind of toxic residue whatsoever, different than Febreze or our favorite masking agents, because when you have masking agents that are either underneath the sink or above you in the cupboard, when you reach under the sink or above you in the cupboard, you bring out said masking agent, you spray it in the air, then there's a reason they call it a masking agent, because all it's doing is masking the odor. It's not attacking the problem all the way down to the molecule like our friends from Lemonize Service do. Pricing very, very easy, either by the cubic foot or parts per million, and come up with a price that's very affordable for you. Offering results in 24 hours or less. If you have any questions, frequently asked or otherwise, one place you need to go, it's the website. This is where I grab my pen. Lemonize.com, that's part of the homework assignment. Full homework assignment is add a /Atlanta after the .com so they know what part of the world that you are addressing them from. Doing a sentence and a preposition. Full homework, ELIMINIZE.com/Atlanta, Lemonize.com/Atlanta for odor-free, clean, fresh air. Lemonize Service, proud sponsors of everything SDH, Tuesday Thoughts. Remember, hour number 1 tomorrow is Weekend Whip Around, patent pending, trademark coming. Jason should be joining us around 9:30. Then 10 o'clock is Dylan Butler to take the tour around Major League Soccer, and 10:30 is Bart Keeler to take a tour around what's on Bart's mind, plus another episode of Reffing Down Here. So there's plenty of stuff to get into on your match day Wednesday. Thursday, we'll look it all over again. And Friday, we're back to it in the 10 o'clock hour with a Weekend Whip around 9:30. A visit from our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring should be Michael Parkhurst. And 9 o'clock, half hour to kind of just take care of business, to kind of get things squared away and figure out where things stand. Since Abby brought it up and I didn't get the chance to give it the appropriate to do coming out of the blocks, this happened while we were in hour number 1. All the Leagues Cup info is now out for Atlanta United, at least for the opening round. We know dates and times. For those of you that want to travel for a Leagues Cup Tuesday, July 25th for the matchup at DRVP&K, 7:30 on Apple TV and MLS Season Pass. I imagine it'll be 7:39. We'll give them the same treatment, at least for now. So be in your seats by 7:30 for a 7:39 kick. Inter Miami and Atlanta United on the road in the first round of group stage for Leagues Cup. Then Cruz Azul comes to visit Saturday, the 29th of July, 8 o'clock Eastern time, so 8:09 anticipated kick. It'll be on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and Univision. Tournament format, official CONCACAF competition, all clubs participating, group stage followed by knockouts, East, West, South, and Central regions, 77 matches hosted at MLS Stadia throughout the U.S. and Canada. Liga MX and Liga MX matches where they play each other are at MLS venues depending on the region. There are no ties. Each team gets a point. The game's tied after 90 minutes. Winner of the subsequent penalty shootout gets an additional point. Regulation wins count as 3. Group stage. Each club plays a minimum of 2 matches in group. Top 2 teams from each group advance. Tiebreakers, full comp guidelines published in the coming months. You've got 2 of them. 2022 MLS Cup champ skips the group stage, starts at the round of 32 of the Liga MX recent champs Clausura, which would be Tigres, and Apertura, the club with the most combined points accumulated across both, skips the group stage, starts at the round of 32. MLS clubs ranked 2 to 16 based on 2022 Supporters Shield finish, seeded first in each group. Liga MX clubs ranked 2 to 16 based on points added from the Clausura and the Apertura combined, would be in the second position in each group opposite MLS rankings. Liga MX 15 paired with MLS 2, etc. Think of it like a bracket for the March and April college basketball tournament. The remaining 13 MLS clubs, together with the 2 remaining Liga MX clubs, drawn into groups and divided geographically. Single game elimination knockout, 16-8-4 semis. Third place match winner qualifies for Champions League, the finals on August 19th. Both clubs qualify for Champions League. The Leagues Cup winner skips directly into the round of 16. So that's what you're staring at when it comes to Leagues Cup and Atlanta United. So that's what you're staring at. So Abby is flying back tomorrow. So listen. Well, actually, with free Wi-Fi, Abby, if you're in the air while the show's going on, you can listen to the show. Because I think free Wi-Fi is what happens on Delta these days. So you can hang out on Delta and listen to the show. Ricky, by the way, added to our continents. Since we've had listening in South America, we've had listening in Australia, and now we've had listening in Europe. At least we know listening in Europe because Ricky was in Greece, and he was listening to the show because he is a diehard. We went over shopping yesterday with Ricky to sit there and go, okay, Ricky, here's the deal. Add X's. That's the bottom line. Add X's. Add your X's, 2 if not 3. when you're trying to get stuff. But yes, the Yakamakis national team jersey is what you're hunting for, if it exists. Michael Head gave us that's right, Africa in 21 and 23. Thank you, 4Card. So we're missing Antarctica, and we are missing Asia and Europe. Frustrated you can't text on it to your peeps. So I think a dedicated Asia listening and dedicated Antarctic listening. I think those are the only ones that we don't have in our history, at least in modern history. But so that's what you're looking at when it comes to the show and this morning and all of those kinds of things. Okay, so here's the advanced stats. I finally found them, and Jason gets the credit for this. Middle of the pack in XG allowed, top 6 in XG attained any metric, 11th in XG per shot, and so middle of the pack XG per shot, middle of the pack XG allowed, top 6 in XG attained by any metric. So that's what you're staring at when it comes to XG for those of you that that are the ones that will work your way through and enjoy XG as a statistic. So that's what you're staring at when it comes to XG. So middle of the pack or higher in 3 separate XG categories, top 6 in XG acquired by any metric. So that's what you're staring at with Atlanta United. There were a couple of things, and I don't know if you saw them, that were just completely and totally off the rails yesterday. And we'll get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, things left unsaid, and viewing habits for stuff. Sheffield Wednesday, like I said, I wish, and I don't know if this has happened, and I don't know if the Harks family allowed it, but if there was a camera anywhere near John Harks yesterday, as Sheffield Wednesday was playing Barnsley for promotion. So Sheffield Wednesday in added extra time beat Barnsley. Guy by the name of Josh Windass. No lie. Windass for Wednesday at Wembley was what the joke was. 6 seconds of extra time left to play. Josh Windass propels Sheffield Wednesday to the championship. It appears that Eric Ten Hag says Harry Maguire has a decision to make about his future. No duh. Napoli looks like they're in talks with Luis Enrique to be the possible successor to Spalletti. Standing down as manager after winning Serie A. Spalletti's going to take his sabbatical year. Luis Enrique's been out of work since he stepped down from the Spain job after the 2022 World Cup defeat in the last 16 by Morocco. Last stint as a club manager, 2014-17 with Barcelona. 2 La Liga titles, 3 Copa del Reys. Champions League has also coached at Roma, Celta Vigo, and Barca B. So there's that. We got into the other countries and other divisions and things like that as to what we were staring at for European roundup. 2-2 draw at Valencia ensures that Espanyol will not be among sides fighting for survival on the final day. And that, like I said, the La Liga and La Liga 2 had their moments of insanity. Standings down at the bottom. 1 match to go. Elche's out. Espanyol out. Now it's going to come down to 6 teams and 3 spots. 6 teams and 3 spots. Espanyol, if they were to win, they could only get to 39 points. That doesn't get them out of the relegation zone. 41 points. Cadiz, Getafe, Valencia. Almeria is at 40. Celta Vigo is at 40. Valladolid has an outside chance at 39 because they play Getafe on the final day. Celta Vigo plays Barcelona. Almeria plays Espanyol. Once again, Espanyol can be a bit of a party pooper if they feel like it. Valencia gets Betis. So and Cadiz at 41 points gets Elche. So if you have a chance this weekend, in addition to everything else, keep an eye on La Liga and focus on the last days of viewing there when it comes to viewing habits. If they've got the multi-screen experience, watch that. La Liga B, by the way, which had its own moments of crazy. Promotion playoffs, Eibar, Alaves, Albacete, and Levante. The way it ended up, Granada and Las Palmas ended up in the automatic promotion spots. Granada won their last 3. Las Palmas, unbeaten in their last 5, had a goalless draw with Alaves. So Levante won, got them to 72 points, but they lost out on goal difference, plus 16 to plus 20. Alaves, with their draw with Las Palmas, only got to 71 points, but they had a better goal difference than, or goals scored, than Eibar, who's at 71 points. Albacete ended up at 67. So Albacete, we knew they would be the 6. We just didn't know 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Granada automatically promoted. Las Palmas automatically promoted. Albacete, Levante, Eibar, Alaves. That's where it runs for promotion. Ponferradina, Malaga, Ibiza, and Lugo are the ones that were out the door in La Liga 2. So we'll keep an eye on that. I know this will shock you, but Kylian Mbappe was named Player of the Year in Ligue 1. I know that shocks you all. 1 match to go there in the regular season, and PSG is going to win it for like the 30,000th time in a row. Lens is second. They'll both be going into European football. Marseille, after having lost 3 of 4 to go to the last day of the regular season, they'll be in Europa League or qualifiers. And Lille in Europa, possibly. Lille, Rennes, Monaco is what it's looking like for Europa League, Europa Conference League. So Marseille, they're getting into qualifying stage for Champions League. Lille and Rennes in Europa and Europa Conference. Troy, Ajaccio, Angers, they're all going down. The last battle of the day is going to be with Nantes and Auxerre. Nantes plays Angers on the last day of the season. Auxerre plays Lens. So we could get a flip there in Ligue 1. All the other things going on today. What were the other? There was some other stuff that I had in my brain. And, of course, it just disappeared on me. I know you're shocked. Looking at, this, and I want to get into this with Bart again tomorrow. Telegraph Sport. I want to know what you guys think of this. Grassroots teams will be hit with points deductions for abusing referees under landmark new sanctions from the Football Association to combat rising on-field hostilities across the game. The Football Regulatory Authority, which absolutely just screams dude sitting behind a big table. A nice long rectangular table. Has approved the radical punishment, which has been ratified by the FA Council for amateur leagues for the start of the 23-24 season. Governing body's chief exec has championed tougher protections following, quote, consistent feedback. I'll get to that in a second. 4Card, I saw that this morning also. Following consistent feedback from across grassroots football that player behavior is a significant issue. Mark Bullingham is also consulting with professional leagues about improving poor behavior in the elite game. An announcement is expected before the start of the new season. Multiple amateur leagues were canceled last year after a shocking upturn in violence and abuse, with 380 players and coaches banned. Points deductions will now, quote, specifically target offending teams where its participants commit serious misconduct, making clear to clubs that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated. FA continued, it's a significant step for grassroots football in England and clearly outlines our commitment to tackle incidents of serious misconduct. The punishment will apply where players or coaches commit repeated offenses of serious misconduct. Deductions will affect clubs at step 7 and below of the men's game and clubs across tier 3 and below the women's pyramid. FA's been in coordinated efforts to tackle abuse all season. It was reported back in December how a wide-ranging new referee strategy was also being developed to improve referee retention and availability. Silent weekends, where spectators are urged to avoid shouting from the touchline, have also been trialed. But warnings of points deductions is by far the most radical move yet. Once again, this is the words of the Telegraph from Tom Morgan. FA's announcement does not apply to elite levels, but the move will delight amateur referees and organizations such as Ref Support UK, which has been calling for tougher punishments for months. Deductions ranging from 3 to 12 points depending on the number of breaches within a 12-month period of the team's first offense and the severity of the case. Cumulative incidents of serious misconduct can include acts of discrimination, an assault or attempted assault, and physical contact or attempted physical contact against a match official. Quote, we frequently hear from grassroots participants that player behavior is a growing issue, and we're determined to change this. So from the start of the 23-24 season, players and coaches who repeatedly offend will hurt their team by losing points. Unacceptable behavior towards other players and officials will not be tolerated. Martin Cassidy, chief exec of Ref Support UK. It's another great example of the FA trying to get a grip of a problem that's been left to run unabated for far too long. In February, the FA also launched a referee body cam pilot, first of its kind anywhere in the world, in 4 grassroots leagues after permission was granted by IFAB. Cassidy adds, along with the body cam pilot, this is evidence football's not accepting the abuse aimed at referees at all levels of the game. We really appreciate the FA listening to us and bringing in this welcome development. Recent months, FA has been taking a more proactive approach in tackling abusive officials at all levels. Jurgen Klopp received 2 touchline bans over the past season. November, the FA had to appeal to get him suspended after his red card against Manchester City the previous month. Potential safety concerns for refs as a consequence of bad player or coach behavior at lower levels are more serious. FA took the unusual step of writing to every grassroots participant, whether coach, player, or parent, at the start of last season to warn that inappropriate behavior went too far last season, that they'll consider harsher sanctions. Pete Carden, who is 72 and has been reffing for half his life in Manchester, described how abuse is the worst he's ever known in the amateur game. The victim of 2 match-related assaults in the space of a year. Kick It Out was a fan of it as well. I know that I'm kind of I'm preaching to the choir here, but why do you think attacking a 72-year-old ref is the right thing to do? Personally, and this is not in the story in the Telegraph. Personally, I'm hoping that the individuals who were found to have assaulted Pete Carden ended up in jail. Anybody that pulls the ish like that should be in jail. We talk about stupidity down here a lot, sadly, because there's a lot of stupidity to talk about. When we get into that discussion, I think that to constantly remind ourselves that we have to be vigilant in these cases and in these situations is part of why we continue to talk about it as much as we do. We need to talk about it so we all can be vigilant and make sure that our impressions of the game and our positivity of the game and how we want the game to continue to grow and succeed on multiple levels, whether grassroots, low-level AM, club, U12 to U19, organized club, college, high school, pro, regardless of division, to keep stupidity from constantly being a part of the landscape. to continue to talk about it so we can be vigilant in implementing common sense. So when we have stupidity like, somebody who feels compelled to assault a 72-year-old man, that we're reminded about these kinds of things. So that's coming from the FA, and we'll talk to Bart about this tomorrow, and then the Iowa program that's a part of it as well. Points deductions for referee abuse under sanctions. About blanking time. That's a part of it. I mean, it's a part of it, and it needs to happen. So, you got that going on. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, things left unsaid. Who's going where, who might be going where, who ain't going anywhere. We've also got TV on today, so we'll talk about that too. Spurs determined to resist Manchester United's attempts to sign Harry Kane. Daniel Levy unwilling to sell to a Premier League rival. That's from the Mirror. I still think that if there's a there's a number. There's a number. Definitely there's a number. Erik ten Hag confident he can persuade Mason Mount to join Manchester United as part of a summer overhaul. Bayern Munich are prepared to pay £95 million to sign Declan Rice. Determined to beat Arsenal to getting Declan Rice to sign on the line, which is dotted. PSG interested in making a move for Martin Odegaard. That's from the 4-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Spurs, Newcastle, Arsenal, all interested in James Maddison. Looks like he could go for about £40 million. Crystal Palace have approached Chelsea and Brighton, former Chelsea-Brighton boss Graham Potter. Nice is also interested in Graham Potter. Interesting. Brighton have completed the signing of Mahmoud Daoud from Borussia Dortmund on a free. That comes from Fabrizio Romano. Here we go. Liverpool have rejected a permanent transfer offer from abroad for attacking midfielder Fabio Carvalho, as the club is only considering a loan deal for the 20-year-old. It comes from our friends at The Athletic. West Ham leading the race to sign James Ward-Prowse. Southampton valuing the 28-year-old England midfielder at £40 million. That's from the 3-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. And that was the other thing. Looking at Southampton and the analytics experiment that went way the hell wrong, it makes you wonder really who is a marketable individual for Southampton now. What can you get for whom? Squad of 30 from our friends at Transfermarkt. Worth a total of $397 million. Market value. By the way, if you're interested in Willie Caballero, his market value is €200,000. James Ward-Prowse. Okay, so here's how it appears for Southampton. I don't buy it, most of it. James Ward-Prowse right now, market value, and once again, this is from our friends at Transfermarkt, £38 million. Far and away the most valued player at Southampton, understandably so. Kyle Walker-Peters, Tino Livramento, they're at 25. Romeo Lavia from Manchester City's U21s at 25. Che Adams at 22. Kamaldeen Sulemana came from Stade Rennais for 25. His value's at 22. So Lavia came on loan. Bela Kotchap came on loan from Bochum, and his market value is 20. Salisu, 18. Bazunu on loan from Manchester City. Onuachu came in from Genk at 17. Joe Aribo, loan from Rangers. Duje Kaleta-Kar from Marseille. Jan Bednarek came from Aston Villa, 14. Then you get past that. You get past the loans of Lavia, Bella Kotchap, Bazunu, Aribo, Coletta Carr. Seriously, you were staring at James Ward-Prowse, Kyle Walker-Peters, Tino Livramento. That gets you $88 million, say. Che Adams at 22 gets you to 120 or 110. Sally Sue to 138. Elianusi at 12. Adam Armstrong at 12. Perot at 12. Sekumara loaned from Bordeaux. Alcaraz, who came in from Racing Club, at 12. Genepo at 10. Ainsley Maitland-Niles on loan from Arsenal. Diallo, and then you're getting into single digits. I mean, literally, Manchester United's U21s loaned like 4 players to Southampton. What can you get in return at Southampton now that you are relegated? Bobby Firmino, waiting to see where he would fit in with Real Madrid before taking a decision on moving to Spain. 4-letter paper. Newcastle confident they can tie down Bruno Guimaraes to a new deal at St. James Park despite interest from Barcelona. How could you afford it? Barcelona, how could you afford to pay for it? We'll continue to ask, how will you pay for it? Xavi says he's in talks with Messi. How will you pay for it? Messi's just going to sit there and say, what's in your wallet? Xavi, I could change for a 10. Okay, cool. Give him a piece of the ownership of the club that you've had to sell your soul to try to get revenue for? Maybe. Messi's father and agent Jorge, according to Foot Mercato, keep an eye on this now. Messi's father and agent Jorge has agreed to a 2-year deal with Al Hilal worth 1.2 billion euro, 1.1 billion pounds. That's from Foot Mercato in French. Oh, by the way, Cristiano Ronaldo did not win the Saudi Pro League title. Finished second. And then you bring in Messi. And this is where I think this is going to happen because they got the cash. He's an ambassador. They're trying to get the Vision 2030 project up and running. You have your top 2 ambassadors going up against each other for a couple of years. And then by the 26 World Cup, they both retire. And then they're full-blown ambassadors for Vision 2030, or at least up until the announcement is made of when the World Cup is going to Saudi Arabia in 2030. No, they have not made the announcement. But when Saudi investors are investing in the African Super League competition, limited investment this year, more investment next season, you're going to get that block vote when it comes to the World Cup 2030. Bank on it. Everton stepping up their interest in Albilal Toure following his return to Almeria's lineup on Sunday. 4-letter paper. Chelsea have opened up talks to sign Sporting midfielder Manuel Ugarte. Other midfield targets for Chelsea include Alexis and Moises Caicedo. That comes from The Guardian. We mentioned the release clause of Brendan Aronson yesterday. Crystal Palace are considering a loan bid for Chelsea U19 midfielder Lewis Hall. That's from the 4-letter paper. Before we go into the other papers, yes, levers, lots of levers. And yes, Alex, it is the wimpy approach. It is the wimpy approach to economics. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for Lionel Messi today, or Bruno Guimaraes, or anybody like that. It is wimpy economics. Oh, Commando, they would definitely make the mistake again. Yeah, the previous host, and then since you mentioned that, I'll go to a story out of Josimar football that I had in my hip pocket. And I know it'll surprise you all. FIFA is looking out for FIFA. And I will guarantee you, okay, so here's how it will be presented. You will get the vote in Lausanne, Switzerland. Unless something shocking happens, the 2030 vote should go to Saudi Arabia because of all the block voting. 2030. Let me get the candidates for the World Cup. Be good if I could type. All right, so here's what you're staring at. First proposed bid, joint bid, Argentina, Uruguay. England, the second one. Spain, Portugal, October 8, 2020. Officially presented June 2021. All right, so potential bids. Morocco back in 2018. Cameroon in 2018. All the Moroccan bids and everything. South American bids across the board. Asia bids. Cross-conference. All right, so confirmed bids. Confirmed bids. Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay, Chile. Spain, Portugal, Ukraine, Morocco. Egypt, Greece, Saudi Arabia. So those are the ones right now that are confirmed. Confirmed bids. Potential bids, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru. The Morocco bid was abandoned. Romania, Greece, Bulgaria, Serbia, England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Republic of Ireland abandoned. So when would this be decided? I'm trying to think. When is this decided? Bidding timeline, third quarter of 2024. Okay. So FIFA Congress, 2024. But you see all of these things in place right now for bids to go down. Headline from our friends at Josimar Football. The illusion of legacy and reforms. This will be today's requested required reading. Headline, or byline. 3 teenagers worked as security guards on World Cup venues throughout the tournament, but were never paid by their employer, Stark Security Services, a company that is owned by persons with close ties to the ruling family and who stand accused of funding al-Qaeda terrorists. Article by Sam Kunti. So that's your requested required reading for today. Commando, the previous host, disaster or not, 4 card is correct. The check's cleared. Saudi checks will be much bigger. No doubt 4 card, it should be back in Uruguay to mark the 100th year of the bid with Argentina. Saudi bids will be large. Yeah, and I know you're shocked, 4 card. Yeah, so you got that. Other things in the transfer center this morning. Chelsea has Joao Felix heading back to Atletico Madrid. Pochettino turned down the chance to have him as a part of the plans. Joao Felix arrived on a 5-month loan deal for £9 million. 4 goals in 20 matches. Chelsea's not going to take up the option. Atleti president Enrique Cerezo. Truth is, at the moment in time, there isn't a great deal more to add. We've known for less than 24 hours, so don't have anything planned. Chelsea manager doesn't want him. They'll return when his commitment ends in a matter of weeks. We'll see what happens, but he is an Atletico de Madrid player. Okay, now this is cruel. This is cruel. Bits and pieces. Fankati Dabo. You remember the story that we were talking about, Fankati Dabo missing the penalty, the decisive penalty in the championship playoff loss to Luton Town. Dabo has been named as one of 7 players released by Coventry. Coventry has also condemned, and we got another edition of Stupidity Down Here, not a shock. Coventry have also condemned abuse handed to Dabo for missing the penalty and have vowed to ban and prosecute any fan who has racially abused the midfielder. Quote, Coventry is sickened and saddened by the following the racist messages sent to Fankati Dabo on social media following Saturday's playoff final. The messages sent by some individuals to Fankati are abhorrent. We are clear that there is no place for racism in our society and that the club and our partners will provide all of the support to Fanke that he needs. Club will work with the PFA, EFL, and police regarding this matter and will seek to ban and prosecute any person found to have sent racist messages. I hope that damn well you do. I hope that damn well you do. The fact that people think that they can be a keyboard warrior, send messages the way that they do, and think that there is no repercussion, that is stupidity beyond belief. But they view it as being brave, those individuals that want to type what they want to type. I hope those individuals are found. I hope they are found in short order. I hope they are prosecuted within the fullest extent of the law. I hope they're thrown under the jail. Secondarily, I hope that Fanke Dabo finds a home. It is sad that the guy who missed the decisive penalty was released by Coventry City. I hope he finds a home. I hope he finds a fan base that appreciates him and his abilities and what he's able to do for any franchise that wants to pick him up. But an ass that wants to say something like that on social media fully deserves to be prosecuted within an inch of their legal lives. Find them quickly, and someone in the championship pick up Fanke Dabo. I mean, I know that you guys who listen to this show and who watch live in the morning know how stupidity pisses me off because we're better than this. But someone behind a keyboard feels compelled to sit there and say things, and, you want to subtweet somebody, you want to call somebody out, you want to call them a name, you want to call them something that is completely, totally abhorrent and asinine, and you feel better about yourself when you do it. I'm supporting my club, horse blank. You're doing no such thing. And whomever did this, I hope you're found. I hope you're found in short order, and I hope you're thrown under the jail. Keeping these individuals away from matches, to me, will always be the most difficult part in all of this. How are you going to monitor that? Facial technology? I don't know. It's a noble thing to say that they're banned from a stadium. They will always find their way back in. And then some are stupid enough to sit there and take their picture with them inside the building and go, hey, look at me, I got in. You'll find folks that are that dumb. Abby, I'd love it. I'd love it if Wrexham picked up Fanke Dabo. And yeah, Commando, I know you can't do an IQ test before you buy tickets, sadly, at times. But yeah, I mean, it's bad enough that the guy who wanted nothing to do with it, you could tell Dabo just was uncomfortable going up to the spot to take the spot kick. He misses, cost his team a chance to go into the Premier League. Now he's released by Coventry City. And then people decide to reach out after the match on Saturday and sit there and say just some stupid-ish. And after the show, I'll probably dig up more and see what's going on. But, yeah, classy move. And I know that John Nason is our resident Coventry City supporter. Maybe he can shine some more light into all of this about fans and things and what it's been like over the last couple of days after Dabo missed the penalty. But yeah, classy stuff, Coventry fan. Other stuff, Leeds owner Andrea Radrizzani still locked in advanced negotiations over the revised deal. We talked about it yesterday with 49ers Enterprises. Radrizzani wants to buy Sampdoria. And it looks like the numbers might be 1/3 of what he wants, going from like 450 to 150 now that you're in the championship. 49ers want to purchase the remaining 56% stake, but not at the 450. Sources have indicated to Sky it's still expected to be completed. Once it has, there's a plan in place for Radrizzani to oversee a transition period into the new ownership alongside Chief Executive Angus Kinnear, who's going to stay through anticipated to the end of 23-24. 49ers and Kinnear have been working on sporting director candidates, Ginks Dimitri DeCond, Middlesbrough's Kieran Scott. Other places that Ryan Edwards is leaving Aberdeen Crean and Dundee United, leading the exodus in the wake of the relegation from the Premiership. 6 players departing. Benjamin Pavard has told Bayern Munich he's not going to renew his contract, now set to leave the club, 12 months remaining on the deal. Barcelona, Pavard wants to go to Barca. Once again, how would you pay for this? Pavard wants to go to Barca, so we'll see. Inter have asked for Pavard in January, so we'll keep an eye on that. Bayern Munich apparently can afford to sign Declan Rice, according to Uli Kohler. Bunny Shaw has signed a new-year contract extension at Manchester City. Had 1 year left on her deal, now contracted to the summer of 26. Agent of Napoli keeper Alex Moret said his client is happy at the Serie A champs, not looking to move amid links to Spurs. Remember Hugo Lloris's future right now hanging in the balance, and there are teams in Saudi Arabia that have expressed an interest in Hugo Lloris. PSG want to sign Lucas Hernandez from Bayern Munich, according to Florian Plettenberg at Sky Germany. Thomas Tuchel wants to keep him. Hesitating to extend to 2027. Dutch goalkeeper Mark Flecken has confirmed he's about to complete the move from Freiburg to Brentford for £11 million. And we talked about it yesterday. Thomas Frank said there's only one player currently for sale, and that's David Raya, and he's put a £40 million price tag on him. Emerson Royal says he wants to play with Harry Kane for a long time, amidst all of the speculation of Harry Kane leaving. Cancelo, if he's going to stay in Germany at Bayern, €70 million for him might be too rich. But they'll hang on to the idea of getting Declan Rice. So there's that. Viewing habits for today. Remember that later on today, Prem and Proper and MLS Next Pro shows will be up on the network. So you can listen to that, catch up on all of the other competition and all the other episodes of everything. Yesterday, the USL Championship, USL League One shows got posted. So you can find out what happened there in the leagues. BN Espanyol, 1 o'clock Turkish Super League. Fenerbahce Antalyaspor on BN. And Karagucu Galatasaray on BN Espanyol. It's a busy day in the U20s. Round of 16 on FS2 at 1:30 and on Universo. USA New Zealand. Telemundo's round of 16 has Uzbekistan and Israel, as well as Fox Soccer Plus. That is at 5 o'clock. So you've got all that stuff today. So we've got stuff coming up later on the network today. Tomorrow, once again, reminder, midweek whip around, patent pending trademark coming 9:05. Jason should be joining us about 9:30 to talk about New England and what he has seen from them and what he remembers from Atlanta and Orlando. And we will get into the rest of the midweek matches there as well. We'll talk about Tim Tillman kind of poking the bear at Leon. Don't know if you want to do that, but he's done it. So we'll keep an eye on that. Dylan Butler and Bart Keeler joining us at 10 and 10:30 to discuss other stuff all around as we prepare for Atlanta United and New England Revolution. So Thursday will be a recap day, and we'll try and track down Nico Moreno to figure out when we're going to have Thursdays with Nico. Is it Thursdays with Nico on a Thursday, or is it Thursdays with Nico on a Friday? Either way, it's great that you guys catch up with us in the afternoons on Thursday or Friday to catch up with Nico and get his Pacific perspective on things. Friday, once again, normal, 9 o'clock, normal half hour. Beyond Goals coming up at 9:30. Weekend Whip Around, patent pending trademark coming in the news of the AM coming in the 10 o'clock hour. The NPSL Southeast Conference show will be up and running on Friday afternoon. And the twos are on Sunday with Inter Miami CF2, and that will be at 7:30 on Sunday night. So another busy weekend, but another busy week here on the network. And we'll be back at it again tomorrow. And we'll get ready for Atlanta and New England. And yes, sadly, Commando, you can't have IQ tests before you buy tickets anyway. But and I'd love it if Abby, I'd love it if Wrexham picked up Funkati Dabo. I'd love it. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for all of y'all for wherever you are on the planet for hanging out with us and doing another round of Soccer Down Here, Soccer's Morning Show. Posted quickly to the app, and you can go on Google Play Store, go to Soccer Down Here, and go on iPhones, the iStore, go to Spreaker, like speaker with an R in the middle of it. Do a search for Soccer Down Here. You can also always listen on the website at soccerdownhere.net. So for Jason, for Jarrett, for Nick, I'm just John. It's the end of the show. Play it safe, everybody. We'll be back for a Wall Pass Wednesday midweek whip around show tomorrow. Listen to you tomorrow. Abby, be safe coming back from California. Play it safe, everybody. It's the end of the show. That means I get to do this. We'll do it again all tomorrow morning, 9:05 Eastern.